Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the Eastern Conference Finals Game 3 contest and the Eastern Conference Finals Game 4 preview. Also, the Western Conference Finals Game 4 reaction. Now, I'm going to start off with the Thunder. The Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Thunder in this case, they accomplished, they had some adversity, and they pretty much, showed people that, hey, this is not the regular young team. Now, even though OKC is the one of the youngest teams in the NBA, they have came and showed people that they can go through adversity. They went through adversity in the Denver series. They went through some adversity in this series. And game four, it was some adversity because if the Minnesota Timberwolves would have tied the series, obviously this would be going 7 games. But it's not going to go 7 games right now. And I'm going to tell people after I get done talking about the statistics for the Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm going to tell you what their future outlook is like for both teams. So first, I'm going to start off with Chet Holmgren, 21 points, Jalen Williams, 34 points, Isaiah Hartenstein, 2 points, Shea Gillis Alexander, 40 points, Lugaz Dort, 4 points, Jalen Williams, bench production, Jalen Williams, 0 points, Kenrick Williams, 5 points, Alex Caruso, 10 points, Isaiah Joe, 5 points, Kason Wallace, 7 points, Dylan Jones, Ozami Dean, Aaron Wiggins, and AJ Mitchell did not play because of coach's decision. Now, Shea Gildress Alexander, he had a signature game. He had a signature game Saturday night. Well, excuse me, last night he had a signature game. Saturday night was the game where OKC got blown out. So, OKC, one thing about them is they haven't had much adversity throughout the regular season, and they've only had a couple games where they had adversity. Now, I'm gonna talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then I will go thoroughly into what I see when it comes to the Thunder and when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Minnesota Timberwolves last night, mm-mm, they pretty much stunk up the joint in the fourth quarter. And Julius Randle, I could go on for about 5 minutes with Julius Randle, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Julius Randle, 5 points, Jaden McDaniels, 22 points, Rudy Gobert, 13 points, Mike Conley Jr., 6 points, Anthony Edwards, 16 points. Bench production for the Timberwolves, Nas Reed, 11 points, Dante DiVincenzo, 21 points, Nickeil Alexander Walker, 23 points, Terrence Shannon Jr., Josh Minort, Leonard Miller, Luke Garza, Joe Ingles, Jalen Clark, Rob Dillingham did not play because of coach's decision. Now, for Minnesota in this case, Minnesota, they have got problems, organizational problems, because I'm going to say this about Minnesota. For the past 3 years, they have been knocked out of the playoffs by the Memphis Grizzlies, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Denver Nuggets, and potentially they are about to be knocked out of the playoffs with the OKC Thunder. So I don't know what the Minnesota Timberwolves, where they go from here, but their future is looking pretty bleak. It's looking pretty bleak because you cannot come back with this same team. Now, I'm going to go into Julius Randle. Julius Randle, I done told people that Julius Randle is the average player. He could have 25, 30 point games here and there, but he is not going to do that consistently. He's not. Because when you see where Julius Randle, he had this same thing that happened in New York. He had 25, 30 points. And then also another thing, when the New York Knicks needed him the most, where was he? He crumbled like a damn cookie under pressure. He crumbled. And that's what he did last night. He crumbled like a cookie. Jaden McDaniels, he's just strictly out there for defense. So his 22 points was great. Rudy Gobert in the fourth quarter, he is irrelevant. He has no value. I don't even know why Chris Finch put him in the game. Mike Conley, he's on the tail end of his career, so he serves no value. Anthony Edwards, the OKC Thunder, they neutralized Anthony Edwards last night. He only had 16 points. And let me tell you, in 41 minutes, 16 points, that is inefficient. He was 5 of 13 from the floor, 1 of 7 from the three-point line, and 5 of 7 from the free throw line. Everybody, and I do mean everybody, was saying that the Minnesota Timberwolves, they could go toe-to-toe with OKC. Everybody thought that this was a matchup on paper. I did too. I thought that this was a 7-game series, but it turns out that it is a mismatch. It's a mismatch. Now let me get to the future outlook for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder, for the next 4 years, they could be back in this situation. Because OKC, they have the blueprint. Everybody is young. OKC, they have 12 draft picks over the next 4 NBA drafts. They do. They have 12 picks over the next 4 NBA drafts. And OKC, they are a team that is here to stay for the foreseeable future. Minnesota, they gonna drop. OKC gonna be at the top. Houston, another young team, gonna be at the top, gonna be right up there. Also, Denver, they still gonna be up there. But Minnesota, I believe Minnesota, if they don't get it within the next 2 or 3 years, they're gonna have to blow that roster up. That's what they're gonna have to do. Blow the roster up, and they are gonna have to, as far as defense, they are gonna have to improve their defense, because Minnesota, they were fortunate to get the Lakers in round 1. Timberwolves were fortunate to get the Warriors in round 2, because their defensive interior, it was bad. The Lakers and Warriors defenses were bad. Now, when they get to some upper echelon competition with the OKC Thunder, they have more trouble defending OKC than they do defending other teams. Now, here are the statistics for last night's game 4. And let me tell you, this game was very entertaining. It could have went either way. But one thing I can say is, where the Minnesota Timberwolves lost this game at was those turnovers. They had a severe case of turnoveritis. When you have 23 turnovers in a game, I don't care what sport it is, what league it is. When you have 23 turnovers, you're supposed to lose a game. You are. You're supposed to lose, and it wasn't even supposed to be this close. It wasn't even supposed to be this close, because 23 points, that causes for possibly 23 fast break points in turnovers and stuff for the OKC Thunder. Now, fast break points, that was non-existent in this game. 13-5 in favor of Minnesota. Points in the paint, 46-42. Fouls, 22-20. Largest lead was 11. For the OKC Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves' largest lead was 2. So now, have we built up Anthony Edwards too soon? Or is this just another another brick in the road, bump in the road to him getting a championship. Now, Anthony Edwards, he is a good player. He is. I think that this is just another bump in the road. So everybody, y'all don't need to say that he's just an average player just yet. Just yet, because in order to beat the champ, you got to go through the champ. Now, the champ last year in the NBA was the Boston Celtics. They already out of the way. OKC, if I'm OKC, I want to finish this joker Wednesday night. I want to finish this joker Wednesday night so I could get a 6-day rest before I play in the NBA Finals. Minnesota Timberwolves, go on ahead and trade away. I'm going to give y'all a few names that the Minnesota Timberwolves need to trade away, because I was talking about this last night. Minnesota Timberwolves need to trade away these players who don't serve no value for the team. And I don't care if the Minnesota Timberwolves fans disagree with me, because I am spitting facts right here. I'm spitting facts. Get rid of the Timberwolves have to trade Leonard Miller, Luke Garza, Joe Ingles, Jalen Clark. Those are 4 guys right there. And you only paying them the veteran minimum. You only paying the veteran minimum, and you need more scores to come off the bench, because sometimes, even like last night, the starters just didn't have it. The starting lineup has a bad game from time to time. Minnesota Timberwolves, they need to improvise when they off-season start, and it will clearly start Wednesday night, well, after Wednesday night. So Thursday morning, they should be going back to the drawing board, seeing what they can do to improve their team. That's what they need to do. Timberwolves need to improve their team. Oklahoma City Thunder are going to start getting ready for the NBA Finals. And that's all I have for the Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The next series I'm going to cover is the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. So the New York Knicks, game 3, they pretty much showed why they are a good playoff team. Now, the New York Knicks, they needed to win game 3. If they didn't win game 3, series was over with. And they have pressure on them tonight. If they don't win game 4 tonight, series is pretty much over. Mikal Bridges, 15 points. OG Anunoby, 16 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 24 points. Mitchell Robinson, 6 points. Jalen Brunson, 23 points. Bench production for the New York Knicks, Miles McBride, 9 points. Josh Hart, 8 points. He's strictly out there for defense. Deion Wright, 2 points. Landry Shamet, 3 points. So one thing I can say about New York Knicks, bench production has no value in this series. It's never had any value. As long as Tom Thibodeau is the head coach, he does not value his bench at all. He doesn't. He doesn't value his bench at all. So Indiana Pacers last night, Sunday night, Indiana Pacers, Pascal Siakam, 17 points. Aaron Naismith, 8 points. Miles Turner, 19 points. Andrew Nembhard, 9 points. Tyrese Halliburton, 20 points. Bench production, Obi Toppin, 8 points. Tony Bradley, 2 points. TJ McConnell, 12 points. Benedict Mathurin, 2 points. Ben Shepherd, 3 points. James Johnson, Jarris Walker, Johnny Furphy, Isaiah Jackson, Thomas Bryant did not play because of coach's decision or injury. Now, one thing I can say about the New York Knicks, when the season ends, they are going to have to improvise what goes on with their bench, because this is going to be their best chance to win a championship, because New York Knicks' future outlook is going to be tough, because you have Boston coming back. You got Cleveland coming back. You got Philadelphia coming back. You got Orlando of all teams that are coming up, and they gonna come up and be a force to be reckoned with. Also, you still got Miami out there. You still have the Atlanta Hawks out there. So what the New York Knicks need to do, they need to go ahead and win this championship, because they're not gonna get back to the championship next season. They not. I said this about the Dallas Mavericks after they lost in the NBA Finals. Now look where the Dallas Mavericks are at. I keep on telling y'all are going to take what I have to say and y'all going to use it to your fruition, because I know what's going to happen with future outlooks for sports teams. I do. I know what's going to happen with the Indiana Pacers future outlook. I know what's going to happen with the New York Knicks. Now, Indiana Pacers, if they don't win the championship this year, they got to go through the same kind of road that the New York Knicks have to go through. Cleveland, Boston, Orlando, Philadelphia, Toronto, Miami, Atlanta, all those teams. And there are a few sleeper teams that can come out of the East next season. I'm not going to get into that right now because we are focused on the conference final round. We are. So Indiana Pacers, if the Indiana Pacers, if they are going to win this series, and possibly this series might go to a game 7, just saying, possibly, I think if it goes to a game 7, the New York Knicks win this series, but they gotta win tonight. They gotta win tonight in game 4, or else it won't mean nothing. It won't mean nothing. So here are the statistics for game 3 between the Knicks and the Pacers, and also shooting from the field, pretty much the same, 43% for the Knicks, 44% for the Pacers. Three-point shooting, Knicks made 11 3-pointers, Pacers made 5. 3-point percentage, 20%, which is bad, 34%, which is bad, but the Knicks found a way to win. And what the New York Knicks did, and I didn't say this earlier, but what the New York Knicks did, they slowed the game down. They slowed the game down, made the game look ugly, kept the game within the low 90s and the high 90s and the low hundreds. That's what it's going to take for the New York Knicks to win this series. Now, Tyrese Halliburton said that they're going to have that the Pacers are going to have a better shooting night. So Karl Anthony Towns, he is going to have to showcase his talents like he did in game 3. Jalen Brunson is going to have to showcase his talents like he did in game 3. Those X factors for the New York Knicks are going to have to come up and show everybody what the New York Knicks are made of, because now, like I say, you can't give no wounded dog life. If you give a wounded dog life, they're going to come in there, take over everything, and pretty much run the show. Now, can the New York Knicks do that? Obviously they can, but will they? It remains to be seen, and it's a different story for the Indiana Pacers. First time with them being in this spot since last year. They wasn't in this spot last year. Even though that they was in the Eastern Conference last year, I really don't count that, but it's just it's on their record. They haven't had a realistic shot at getting to the finals since Reggie Miller. And we all know that Reggie Miller was 25 years ago. So anybody that is under the age of 25, you probably don't know who Reggie Miller is, but pull up Reggie Miller on YouTube or your phone or whatever you are looking at right now, and you will know who Reggie Miller is. Now, one last thing I got to say before I switch on over to Instagram. New York Knicks need to come out there and handle business. OKC Thunder, come out there and handle business and get your rest. because you played a 7-game series, and this series has been nip and tuck. Even though that you up 3-1, every game has been nip and tuck. Even though it's been blowouts here and there, but for the OKC Thunder and Grizzlies, the first few minutes of the first quarter in every game has been nip and tuck. And with that, those are my reactions to game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the New York Knicks, Indiana Pacers. My reaction to game 4 of the Western Conference Finals between the Minnesota Timberwolves and OKC Thunder. And my prediction for tonight's game, I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that right now. So the Pacers are a 2.5-point favorite tonight. Does anybody think they're going to cover? And it 2.5-point favorite tonight, and it is 10:20 a.m. Tuesday, May 27th at 10:21 a.m. So as of right now, it's 2.5 point. They are a 2.5-point favorite. The Pacers are. That is going to rise within the next few hours before the game starts. So all my betting men and women out there, place your bets accordingly. If you want to place it right now, you can. But if I were you, I would wait until about maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, because that'll be the final projection for tonight's game as far as point spread. And with that, please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. We are also doing expansion right here on YouTube. And let me tell you, the expansion is going great. And by the time football season gets here, these streams will be more and more interactive. I see there are some people in the chat right now. Like I said, if you go on my Instagram, I already done told y'all, get your subscriptions, put in your subscriptions, because when this thing officially take off, and I do mean officially take off, it's not gonna be many comments that I'm gonna be able to see, because the comments, they are gonna be rolling in. So as of that, hey, one last thing I always tell y'all, the key is always on time.